Hello, this is Julkkis and I'm going to tell you something I'm gonna draw with a hat. Well, yeah, mostly, I don't know. I'm just gonna say something that comes to mind. So, here it goes. So, once upon a time there was a little island that had a bunch of people on it. They called themselves saxophones. They didn't think the word saxophone was good enough. So, they went home and cried. Um, but then one day, an invasion from the east um, came upon the land of saxophones, and the crying bastards just couldn't help it. Uh, while the saxophones were attacked from the east by these mysterious warriors, um, another force came upon them. They called themselves the Nogrians, the peoples. They came from the south, from a completely foreign land, and you know things were a bit hectic on this island. But eventually, the Saxons and the Saxophones and the people from the east were kicked out, and the well Nogrians or whatever they took power. So there were a bunch of wars and whatnot on the island, and yeah, whatever. But then one day, this one man got brilliant idea of like taking a boat and sailing around. So he did sail around a bit, and he found a bunch of new islands. He found a whole new continent in the west. He called it New Normal Land. Normal Land, yes. And they established a colony there. Too bad there were a bunch of people there already. These people call themselves Indafals, and these Indafals they were quite friendly, but the Normans or whatever Normers, Nogrians they just wanted the land for themselves. They didn't want to share anything with these friendly people from from this new land, and and uh, and one day when the local people of the new land came with flowers and whatnot to these people, they just took arms and killed them. And after this incident, the native people of the land they just outright attacked them. And the people of the colony they told their ruler back in old Saxtopia that they attacked their provocation. This is not our fault, totally their fault. And thus began the total annexation of the continent, basically. All of the countries and whatnot, all the peoples of the old continent came upon the newly found continent and fought over it and whatever, stuff. They had a bunch of business and whatnot, killed a bunch of wildlife, killed the natives, and yeah. They also brought a bunch of disease and whatever to the new continent. After conquering the new continent, these people of the old world, they thought to themselves, "Wow, we're really powerful. We should invade more places." So they did. They did, especially the um, the Nogrians. They sailed around a bit, sailed everywhere, whatever, and they found this way around this boring continent that they didn't find interesting at all. And they found this very rich place. They had a bunch of like cool spices there and whatnot. They they set up shop at the newfound land. They called it to remember the old natives of the newfound land that they found like I don't know 200 years ago, 200 years before now, like 50 years before this land setting on this new um, country or whatever, with a bunch of salts and whatnot. They to honor these natives that they slaughtered in the war for the new continent. They named the new land to Indies. Yes, Indies. Sounds like a good name. So they bought a bunch of land from these Indies people. They claimed to, in fact, they claimed to like be rightful and whatnot. They came upon the old rulers or the native rulers of this Indus or whatever, uh, and said, "Hey yo, I'll give you protection if you give me protection money, mate." And that's basically what they said. And they uh, they subdued all of the rulers of this land, apart from a few, and they um, they found that their little island couldn't support as big a population as the other people of the old continent could. So they noticed that there were a bunch of people in this newly found country that they claimed, that they called Indus or whatever. So they came up with the idea of transporting these people back to their capital or whatever, and they used them as like conscripts or whatever, like frontline soldiers, and they used their own people as generals to rule over this whatever like non-worthy or whatever. I don't know what do you call what did the Americans call it? Black people? I don't know. I don't care. They call them rats or whatever. Yeah, rats. They call them rat people, and and but to like go around this empty continent back to their own homelands with a boat, that just takes too much time. So they thought about the thing, about the situation, and they came up with the idea of building a river that connected the sea of the rich place to a sea just south of their island. This would reduce the distance that had to be traversed by, like, I don't know, maybe like 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 75%, about yeah, 75%. And this was an awesome idea. So the country, or the island of saxophones, uh, or the government of this saxophonian island, came up with the brilliant idea of investing a bunch of money in this river experiment, and they did um, manage to build a river connecting the two seas from the slimmest point. They called it the river of Indus. But this river was not like a peacekeeper for them, unfortunately, since other people from the old continent wanted to use the river to get to new places. Like, they hadn't explored much past the rich lands, so they told the saxophone government that yo mate, give us access to your river or we'll put a gun to your head, mate. Well, they didn't speak like that. They weren't too closely related to the culture of the saxophonian island folks. So whatever. But the saxophonian government refused this offer or whatever, and they said, "You gotta go and get him, mate." So they did. They attacked the Saxophonians. But too bad for them, the Saxophonian government had finished their project, thus enabling them to transport a bunch of troops from the new country. They transported a bunch of rats. They left, dropped off like stacks of men everywhere around the old continent, the country of the Bobsters and Franksters and whatever. And they won this war, or they white peace them. They called white peace upon these people, and thus they were the supreme power of the region. They continued to explore the world, the seas, and they founded a few more colonies. But eventually, they found an island with a strong cultural integrity or whatever. And this island, they had supremely crafted weapons and whatever, but they were like fighting amongst themselves, which led the Saxonian government to think that they'd perfected their ways of fighting through a millennia of, well, not a millennia, thousands of years of fighting amongst themselves, and this would have also granted them a big cultural, whatever, I don't know, boost or something, and they said hello to these people. The people said, "Yo, who the fuck are you? I thought there was no one else but the the jigglies over there in the west and the balablis over there in the ocean somewhere." And so the Saxophonian people said, "I could give you some money and we could be friends, mate." The people of this newly found new island said that whatever, I'll take the money, but they didn't promise anything to the Saxo government. So they just took the money and bought a bunch of weapons. With this money, though, they conquered the rest of the tribes or whatever, the factions of this island, and created the Empire of Gigi. And the Empire of Gigi conquered the people of the Shichi or whatever, and they also conquered the people of the Bibi or whatever, the people in the eastern seas, thus making them a great empire and a rival to the Saxon government with a bunch of nuggy and so whatever people. So they just grew and grew in power with their advanced weaponry and tactics and imperialism, newly found imperialism. Back a few years, the people of the colonies of the first colonies, the first colonies the old people set up had broken loose from the old people's grasps due to lessened interest in the big continent that they found first. And these colonies had grown in power. They'd increased their military spending and monetary gains through extreme capitalism and imperialism and nationalism and whatever. And these colonies had formed a union, and they also were interested in taking over these nations around them. They started with invading. They colonized the untouched continent that everyone deemed stupid and boring and whatnot. So they had a bunch of colonies there. They found a bunch of people who were very rich in gold and diamonds and all that shit. So they got rich from that trade, mate. Uh, yeah, whatever. And they gained a bunch of gold. They also told they told the people who were crossing the seafarings or whatever, like through the going across the um, the coast of the untouched continent, which had been touched now. They got a bunch of money from that too, and they but they also gave them free fuel and whatever, um, from traveling through their tolled roads or whatever ways, because they wanted to supply the other nations of the old world with stuff, so they could eventually or whatever fight this naval power that is the Saxon government, government, so they'd have less enemies to fight, and they befriended the other nations of the old world and the nations of the new world, so they were quite powerful. But the Japjaps were also growing in power, while the indie colonies of the island wanted to revolt. They had a revolution going on. A man named Gabriel Bobster had started a revolution of peace amongst the people in this place. So that place was the Saxophonian government was losing grasp over there, and eventually they lost the big supply of rats that they had coming from the river of Indus or whatever. So they weren't too pleased to hear that, and when the new people from the new world found out about this, they immediately gathered their allies and attacked the Saxon island. At the same time, though, the Japjaps were invading in all directions. The Saxonian government fell instantly, and it was split evenly among the allies of the. Oh fuck! My computer is going to self-destruct mode. Okay, never mind. There, the allies split their regions evenly across themselves or whatever, amongst themselves, and then they turned their faces or guns upon the Japjap empire. The northernmost people rode horses across the frozen grasslands of the Seably wastelands to get to the Japjap region, and so they did, and they lost because their horses were frozen and stuff. So were their weapons. The weapons were frozen. They were using some oil that didn't resist cold that well. So they sucked, and that was a stalemate. Nothing happened there, and the New World people they attacked from the east westwards, because the world is round, unless you were mistaken. Whatever, I don't know. My throat is getting a bit dry from this. Yeah, the people invaded the Japjaps, but the Jap-Japs fought resiliently. They uh, they flew. The technology was advanced, thus they flew aeroplanes across the skies and shot with their machine guns, which was also advanced technology, at these New World people. Pew 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 pew. They shot. Pew 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 pew. They shot. And the New World people, they weren't happy. The Allies weren't happy. So they came up with a plan of increasing their technology level. The Japjaps were invading the continent of Utopia, and and um, and the Allies were intensively researching new technologies to stop these Japjaps from invading their place or homes. And eventually they came up with a new technology that would revolutionize warfare forever. And they deployed this weapon. They called it the Japjap Destroyer. They stole a plane from the Japjaps and they flew it to Japjap homeland, to their capital. They didn't quite know how to fly the Japjap plane, so they just kind of like maneuvered pretty shit. And the plane was shot down, carrying the payload called the Japjap Destroyer. Upon impact, the Japjap Destroyer detonated, and a great cloud of destruction ate the Japjap homeland. Eventually, a crater was only left of the capital. The emperor was not in the capital at the time. He was on a vacation on a hill, visiting his father's grave. When he heard of this destruction, he got mad because all of his pictures of his father and mother and sisters were in that capital, and he was very mad. So he ordered all of his people to go get this technology and destroy it. So a ton of vehicles flew across the skies, the seas, and entered the new continent. The fight was getting worse, and the Allies were attempting to launch another bomb. And so they did. This time they delivered it by horse through the uh, icy plains in the north. They carried a wagon, or a wagon carried the device, thus making it resistant to anti-air fire. but yeah, the horses had adapted to the cold, thus making it easier to transport the device among the frozen air particles. And that's they succeeded in transporting it to Pagahala, which was the second biggest town or city in the Japjap Empire, but it was not the richest city, so whatever. The bomb detonated a few miles from the city, but its payload was increased, thus eating multiple settlements near it, destroying like 50 miles around it, creating a 50-mile diameter of a 20 mile radius crater around ground zero. The Japjaps didn't give up. They fought and fought. They had taken all of the new world. Only the old world was remaining. While this was happening, the Allied had created so many devices that they could have blown up all of the major cities of the Japjap Empire, only if they got the devices distributed. They had a plan of joining the Japjap Empire and secretly placing these bombs all over the empire. But they didn't put this plan to use. Instead, they just used the common method of distribution. They put these devices on ships, and they transported the ships all over the world. But the ships weren't so good against the Japjap fleet. The Japjaps had a device they called the subsurface vehicle, which could travel across underneath every surface, which was very overpowered against, especially against these ordinary boats the Allied people were using. The Japjaps destroyed a lot of boats, but the Japjap vehicles were also sunk in the explosions of the boat payload. The Allies got the idea that they had to reverse engineer the plane. This was their only hope of surviving. They had shot down a few planes, so they gave the remnants of the planes to their engineers and scientists. The scientists came up with the idea that if you had wings and a motor, as the Japjaps had labeled it, they might be able to sustain flight and travel across continents. So they put this idea to use. Too bad they didn't have good enough engines for this plan. So eventually they failed in this, and the Japjaps took over all of their shit, and they were incorporated into the Japjap Empire. Plan B had taken root, and the bombs were secretly being distributed amongst the administrative centers of the Japjap Empire by a underground group calling themselves the Underground Allied Group, which is not very creative. That is because it is 1 a.m. in the morning. Well, whatever. And I've been speaking straight for 28 minutes. So yeah, they detonated the devices on they were not detected while distributing the devices, and they detonated them at the same time. And the Japjap Empire was in ruins. There was a big civil. Oh fuck! Shut up. Also distraction there. The Japjap Empire was in ruins, and a lot of fighting was going on amongst the underground Allied people and the Japjap loyalists. And yeah, that was a bunch of fun time for the people of the Empire and the Allies. But yeah, that's a bunch of improvised story time. So see you later, or talk to you later. Goodbye. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about this later. Goodbye.